So, going further from the last videos, I want to build up on how purpose has to be the bedrock of everything we do. If there is an inability to identify one's purpose, or just not a clear understanding of how to execute that purpose, then one does stumble and fumble along. One of the most evident ways to see that someone is not seeing a connection between their purpose and everything they're doing is very clearly look at relationships, at dating. If one is just dating based on what appeals to them visually or sensually, then you will see that they will keep trying different things. There'll be hit and misses, there'll be frustration, and you'll often hear the question, why do I keep attracting this kind of a person, or what am I doing wrong? And I can identify with that. I don't focus on putting a lot of my own testimonies unless they're relevant, but I can identify with doing things without connecting them to my purpose, or thinking purpose, since my purpose is based on relationships with others and relationships with God. In fact, let me just articulate it for you. My purpose is to bring about the best in others. How does that look if we break it down? Well, it means I am helping them identify their purpose. I am helping them identify the areas that they need to get healing and how best they can go about getting that. I always point out I'm not a trained professional or therapist, so I can help you identify where your problem areas are, or the areas that you may need to get resolved, and then you could, of course, then seek the best avenue to bring that about. And I also like to help people navigate relationships from a purposeful approach. And when I've identified that, it then makes sense that every area of my life, I look at things from that perspective. How does this connect with my purpose? Is this something that can hamper or impede my purpose from being executed in my life or in a person's life? And therefore, I can make that decision and say, I don't need to pursue this. This is not worth the time. It is detrimental to what I should actually be focusing on. And if we approach every part of our lives with first having put that lens on to say, how does this connect with my purpose? We can be more focused in knowing how to allocate our resources. How much time should I put into this? How much money should I put into this? If it's just for recreational purposes, then you can say, well, you know what, it's just for fun. Sure, let me do this. It's just for relaxation. It's just to spoil myself. I'm just helping somebody. And then you can get back to what your purpose is about. So that said, let's look at relationships. From my perspective, my relationships have obviously got to connect with my purpose. In fact, if I'm in a relationship that clashes with my purpose, I will be in a constant turmoil and strife. Now, when I say relationships, I don't only mean the romantic relationship, even my inner circle, even my friends who I spend a lot of time with, or consult or refer to and bounce ideas off. If they are at polarities with my purpose, if they can't stand people, they're only about self-preservation at all costs, they're willing to throw people under the bus, I then have to be more sensitive to saying, okay, this is actually a person who I may have to work with to help them identify who they want to be and help them achieve that, more than bringing them into my life and having them help shape and continue on my journey with me towards my purpose. I hope that makes some sense. So if it's a romantic relationship, more so, because that winds up infiltrating every area of your life. As you know, in romantic relationships, you wind up having to involve the person a lot in every decision you make. Now, if there's no synergy with their vision and their purpose with yours, then you can see that that could be problematic. So once you have understood that and you've stopped and you've articulated what your purpose is, then it becomes so much more practical for you to establish how you can identify a person who complements your purpose. They don't have to have the exact same purpose as you, but they can complement, they can help build and add to you achieving that and to your journey along that. So how does dating then look? You start to say, well, let me look at where this person is in their life, where are they going, how do they articulate their vision for the future. Once you've done that, you'll find you have eliminated a lot of people. You've made it easy. You've made it so easy for yourself. You've become selective and purposeful in your dating. Therefore, you are not wasting your time or anybody else's time in your pursuit for a future spouse, because you've articulated and you've established what you like. So yes, you can get distracted, see somebody attractive, see someone who is in their life, if they're working in their purpose, they look impressive, they look admirable, and that could even distract you at times. But once you get to connect again with your purpose and you look at them from that perspective, you can say, you know what, they are a great person, they are admirable in many regards, but this is not the person that is going to complement my purpose, and therefore this would not work. It doesn't mean they're bad, doesn't mean you're bad, it just means this is not an ideal connection. And should you pursue it, it could very well mean that one of you is going to have to, for the greater part of your relationship, step outside of their purpose to prevent strife or frustration in the relationship. If you look at your past relationships and look at what was it that drew you to that person, you can begin to see, okay, I can see why that didn't work or why that was not supposed to work. You will be less offended at something not working, and you can begin to see why maybe it was another person who determined that this wasn't going to work out with you. And once you step into your purpose and you start to walk on that journey, you can look at that and say, I see what they meant. I see what they meant. I understand why that wouldn't have really worked. Pursue your purpose in your relationship. So your relationships, your career development, everything should be purpose driven. Okay. It tends to be that at the beginning of the year, everyone seems to want to articulate what their resolution is going to be the coming year, or their purpose, and usually by February, wheels are falling off wagons. By March, what wagon? And there is a sense of failure, and a failure to commit to yourself or to anybody else. Once you get to a certain part in the year, you tend to slip back into what was your norm, what was comfortable and familiar. And it doesn't have to be like that. In fact, I like this time of the year, right about this time, to say, okay, let's touch base. What got covered, what didn't get covered, what should not even have been on my list of things to achieve for this year. Was it a measurable goal? Was it a goal in line with my purpose? Or was I distracted at the time? Or was it something that just seemed fancy? Or I heard it in a message that was inspirational and motivational, and I thought, I like that, so it must be on my list, which is not necessarily how it should be. Any time is a great time to take stock, to reevaluate how far you've gone and how you achieve what you need to achieve. The rest of the year is still a big chunk, and this is the time of year where a lot of relationships do take off, and it's a time where people don't really want to feel alone, and they may feel, you know what, let me just maybe give that person a chance. Well, why not? You know, I don't want to spend the holidays alone. You know, he says or she says they want another chance, or they're going to try. But I would urge you instead to focus on articulating what your purpose is, and then you can feel less of a victim of not being able to find a person or being found by someone. And you can say, I am dating with purpose. And until I have identified someone who's also purpose driven and we're going in the same direction, I don't feel I need to be in a relationship. I don't feel I need to expend myself emotionally. I don't feel I need to have experiences that I'm gonna need to have to deal with and heal from again in the near future, which could frustrate me right about the time person I should be in a relationship with, should be showing up, and I've still got new stuff to deal with. So I would rather stay on my own, focus on things that are connected with my purpose than just being in a relationship for the sake of not being alone. So this is a great time to do that, to just be alone, but you are doing that purposefully. I would love everyone to be in a love, in a great, healthy relationship. But if you are single and not in a relationship, I urge you so much, let's articulate our purpose and make everything align with that. If it's taking from some of the resources that should be allocated towards your purpose, maybe that thing needs to be shelved, put on the back burner. It's not saying it's a bad thing, but it shouldn't be a priority then. But that's something for you to determine. Okay, enough lecturing for today. I'm glad to finally get this video out to you. I'm encouraging you to get the dating guide and the workbook. Remember, look at it more as a relationship guide and a relationship workbook. So, to this romantic relationship audience, I say thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next clip. And it won't be too long. Stay tuned. Thank you. Love you all. God bless you. Bye-bye.